Hello and welcome to another indie game review here on the Sanitarium.FM YouTube channel. I am your reviewer, Predicted Cyborg, and today I'm reviewing a little indie game called FreeHolder, which was published and developed by the same company, Rogueware. Now, what is FreeHolder? FreeHolder is a game that has RPG elements, got some roguelike elements to it, bit of simulation, some strategy in there. You basically play as a group of 3 escaped slaves trying to make a living for themselves on the outskirts of the Roman Empire by basically farming stuff, earning money, keeping yourselves alive, keeping yourselves warm during the winter, and so on and so forth. You have a variety of classes. At the beginning you can only choose the classes of your main slave character, as in you can be a farmer, you can be a hunter, etc, etc. And you have months and years, and you need to be able to have grown enough wheat to meet a tally, as well as also having earned enough money to meet taxes. It gets a little bit harder from year to year, but after the first year, the other 2 slaves in your group do actually sort of level up and gain their own specializations, which helps. And each one of these classes or specializations does actually tend to have its own perks that you can add to your character as you're playing it. For example, I tend to make my first main slave a farmer type character, a gardener, and I tend to give her the perk that allows her to have an extra turn when doing stuff in the field, you know, like mulching, planting, harvesting, etc, etc. Given that you need to grow a certain amount of wheat to meet your yearly tally, this tends to be quite a good early one to pick, or at least in my opinion it is. The gameplay does consist of your 3 slaves every month having a certain amount of turns. Now, some actions out in the world, or on the farm, take a few more actions to complete than others. So basically what you need to do at the beginning of every month, you need to evaluate A, what needs to be done, B, who's better at doing things, and C, what combination of things each character can accomplish, given their skills and given what needs to be done. As what sort of actions you can do? Well, there's a variety of things. When you're on the farm, you can choose to do stuff with your fields. You can plant stuff, you can go and water the fields, which you kind of need to do, otherwise your yield is a little less. You can go and choose to cover over the crops that you're currently doing, which is something you tend to do with the bean crop quite a lot, because it's very good at helping you recover fields a little bit faster. You can also choose to visit certain tiles on the outskirts of your main farm building, such as the forest, where you can go to hunt animals, you can go to collect reagents, you can chop firewood, etc, etc. Firewood is something that you do actually need to stockpile on, because, as I said, one of the things you need to do, you need to keep warm during the winter months, so you need to have some sort of fuel. Firewood is the most readily available, but although you have to watch how much you do it, because otherwise it cuts down on how much you're actually able to get. Same with hunting, you know, if you hunt too often, there's going to be fewer animals for you to hunt, and you need to wait for things to recover. Same with the firewood. You can also choose to leave your farmstead and the surrounding area and go out into various cities and everything, in which you can choose to do investigations, to check for news. You can choose to go do some fighting in one particular city, and the main city where the market is, you need to frequent there quite a lot, because you need to go and take your extra stuff and sell it for money. As I said, part of the tax is the wheat, part of it is also a sum of money, so keeping on top of how many funds you have and making as much money as possible is usually quite a good idea, because you never know when something happens and you need to go and spend money that you have spent a long time earning to pay your taxes to deal with something else. Because, for example, things do happen, your characters can get sick, and when that happens you need to give them more food, you need to give them ginseng, which is the root that you need to use to fight off illness, and you just generally need to look after your characters, because if your characters get too ill, then they're not able to help out quite as much as they usually would be. They have fewer turns, they will eventually succumb to the sickness, and they can even die, and the fewer people you have to help you on your farm, well, the harder it's going to be to meet those taxes and everything. Your main farm building does also have a few other options about things you can do. You can choose to construct certain buildings to make certain things easier, give yourself more storage for food to stop it going bad as quickly. And the use that I most commonly used it for, you can actually choose to take one of your turns to have your characters rest, which is usually quite a good idea if they're actually kind of sick at that moment. So how do I find this as a game? I like it. The encounters that you can do, as I say, you decide what you do, and the results of those will be randomised. Sometimes you'll do well, sometimes you'll do decently, other times you won't do so well, and then you've got to try and figure things out from there. Illnesses will pop up kind of randomly as well, although you can stave them off by actually giving your characters a bit more to eat than usual, rather than having just, your standard sized meal. Give them a hearty meal. Improve their health, and they'll get sick a lot less often. The game itself could do with a little bit more on the whole sort of tutorial on this is how you do things. You're kind of left to figure it out a little bit, but once you have actually managed to get hold of it, and it is quite easy to get hold of, I must admit, once you've done it a few times, then the game flows quite well. As I say, it does get a bit more difficult year to year, and there is actually a story in there that develops. You are literally playing the underdog in this game, fighting corrupt landlords and officials by basically doing what you are supposed to do, growing food, making money, paying your taxes, etc, etc, with a little bit of leaning on the illegal side if you're actually out in one of the towns and looking for some information or some trouble, because sometimes you'll do that and you'll actually manage to lift money or maybe a cloak off somebody who maybe has a bit more than they really need to, and of course you as a struggling farmstead, you need it more, right? As I said, this game could do a bit of a better job at explaining how things work, but after you've done one playthrough you'll learn a lot and you'll be able to bring that to your second playthrough and do an awful lot better in your next one. So I'd recommend this game for anyone who is looking for a small 2D pixel strategy slash roguelike element game, and especially if you have any interest in Roman history, this might be up your alleyway. The game costs around $9.99 if you are in the US, and the price in the UK is £6.99. So really, it's not that expensive, and it is also in early development, so the game can only get better from here. And so that does it for another indie game review video here on the YouTube channel for the Sanitarium.FM. Remember, we are a gamer radio station. Find us on our site, tune into our radio shows, read our articles, join us in our Discord and stay tuned to this YouTube channel for more videos, more reviews, more news and more of the same. I'm the Predicted Cyborg and I will see you next time.